President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Jordanian King Abdullah II discussed the importance of fully implementing the Gaza ceasefire agreement and the urgent need for the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. Presidential spokesman Counselor Mohammed Qnews stated that the leaders' call addressed developments in Syria, where they emphasized the importance of achieving stability in Syria, preserving its unity, territorial integrity, and the security of its people. They also stressed the need to initiate an inclusive political process that does not exclude any party. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi held talks with King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of Bahrain, discussing the latest developments in Gaza, Syria, Lebanon, Sudan, and Libya. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Mohammed Qnews stated that President el-Sisi outlined Egypt's efforts to ensure the full implementation of the Gaza ceasefire agreement, including the exchange of detainees and the delivery of humanitarian aid to ease the severe crisis in the Gaza Strip. The Egyptian president also stressed the importance of Gaza's reconstruction and called for a unified Arab position to support lasting peace and stability in the region. Under the directives of Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdel Ati has met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to discuss mutual issues between the two countries. The meeting saw the exchange of views and assessments regarding several regional files, with the latest developments in Gaza taking the lead. Minister Abdel Ati reviewed Egypt's efforts in fully implementing the Gaza ceasefire agreement in all three phases, ensuring the delivery of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip at an accelerated pace to meet the needs of its residents amid the catastrophic humanitarian conditions they are facing. Egyptian and Turkish foreign ministers have celebrated 100 years of diplomatic ties, targeting $15 billion in trade and stronger economic cooperation. In a joint statement, they welcomed Gaza ceasefire, urged international aid, rejected Palestinian displacement, and reaffirmed support for UNRWA and the two-state solution. The two ministers stressed Syria's unity, voluntary return of refugees, and combating terrorism, while supporting Somalia and Libya's sovereignty. They voiced concern over Sudan's conflict and called for joint global efforts to eradicate terrorism. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has announced that Egypt will host an international conference to support the reconstruction of Gaza. At a joint press conference in Ankara with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, Abdel Ati stressed that the Gaza ceasefire must be paired with urgent humanitarian aid. He called for political commitment to the agreement and rejected any attempts to displace Palestinians. Abdel Ati also reaffirmed Egypt's support for the Palestinian cause, its efforts to maintain regional stability in Libya, Lebanon, and Syria. Egypt's Senate Speaker Abdel Wahab Abdel Razik met with Ahmed Ubaid bin Dagher, the chairman of Yemen's Shura Council, to discuss bilateral relations. The meeting reaffirmed Egypt's commitment to Yemen's security, with Abdel Razik emphasizing its importance to regional stability and highlighting the long-standing ties between the two nations. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli chaired a meeting on entrepreneurship and startup growth, approving a new framework to define startups and classify them under clear regulations. The meeting also discussed government incentives aimed at boosting investment and strengthening Egypt's position in the global startup ecosystem. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli reviewed the crisis and disaster response capabilities of several governorates. During a meeting attended by Local Development Minister Manal Awad and the governors, Madbouli emphasized that President el-Sisi has instructed all local authorities to maintain constant readiness for handling crises, disasters, and major incidents. The directive includes establishing a professional crisis management system. Egypt's Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Ayman Ashour, has highlighted the state's support for higher education and scientific research under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. During a meeting with South Africa's Minister of Science and Technology, Ashour emphasized the strong ties between Egypt and South Africa, particularly in higher education and scientific research. He described the relations as positive and built on fruitful cooperation. Egypt's Education Minister Mohammed Abdel Latif met with Rod Smith, the Director of International Education at Cambridge University, to discuss ways to enhance joint educational projects. The minister reaffirmed the importance of Egypt's partnership with its curriculum and IGCSE certification for many schools in the country. The Cairo Governorate conducted a large-scale equipment readiness drill at Cairo Stadium to assess its ability to respond to emergencies and disasters. Governor Ibrahim Sauber emphasized that the drill follows President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's directive to ensure full emergency preparedness. Cairo has a fleet of over 6,800 vehicles and heavy machinery distributed across multiple departments, including waste management, utilities, public transport, and emergency services. Egyptian Minister of Electricity Mahmoud Ismat has met with Tunisian Ambassador Mohammed bin Youssef to discuss expanding cooperation in electricity and renewable energy. Talks on leveraging Egypt's expertise in clean energy and reducing carbon emissions. Ismat emphasized the strong historical ties between the two nations and Egypt's efforts to localize renewable energy industries in solar and wind power. And moving on, Minister of Labor Mohammed Gibran has met with the executives from Pakin, an Egyptian-Jordanian paint and chemical manufacturing company, at his office in the new administrative capital. He reiterated President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's directive to foster strong labor relations and create an attractive work environment for local and foreign investments. The minister commended the company for implementing the minimum wage policy, benefiting 1,207 workers, underscoring the government's commitment to ensuring fair labor standards. Dr. Ali Al-Ghamrawi, head of the Egyptian Drug Authority, has announced that the local pharmaceutical market currently holds 3.5 billion drug units, with a monitoring system tracking 15 billion units. Speaking at a press conference, he revealed that Egypt exports pharmaceuticals to 147 countries. Al-Ghamrawi also highlighted Egypt's achievement in obtaining the World Health Organization's Level 3 maturity certification for its pharmaceutical and vaccine regulatory system and international recognition of its stability and effectiveness.